may seem odd when speaking of guidance to turn to the Psalms, but that is where we find ourselves today. These songs of old are rich in understanding of who God is and how he desires to guide us. The question is, do you trust God to guide you? How do you find out his will for your life? These are key questions, and many would ask, and it is a very good thing to ask, what would God do in this situation? If Jesus was sitting here right now, what would he do? What would he say? How would he act? And then to do, act, and say those same things. The problem is, how do you know what he would have done, what he would have said? This week, while preaching in Italy, Sarah was translating for me. And partly because we've been through the material ahead of time, but I think mostly because we've spent half our lives together. She was completing sentences before I'd actually said them, sort of pre-translating, because she knew what the other half of the sentence was going to be. That is how we are to be with God. He wants to have that close a relationship with us. Psalm 19 and verse 8 says, "The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandments of the Lord are pure, enlightening the eyes." These things of God are not onerous. They're not a set of rules and regulations to tie us down. They are an understanding of who he is and what he wants for our lives. He knows us inside and out. Who better to turn to? And how better to know his will than to know him? And how do you come to know God closer so that you can be able to, as it were, complete the sentence? When looking for guidance, start from God's word. Spend time reading about him. And the Psalms are an expert example because there's so much in there, a richness and a depth, explaining exactly who God is. And then knowing him, you can follow his guidance because you will know how he would respond to that situation. That is being guided by God.